Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, I want to share with you one of the most amazing stories from the life of the companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. A story that shows us the hidden power of the Qur'an, and in particular, Surah Al-Fatiha, the very first chapter of the Qur'an that we recite every single day in our prayers. But the question is, do we really understand its power? Or has it just become something we recite automatically in Salah without reflecting? In this video, we are going to uncover a powerful hadith narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari about how Surah Al-Fatiha was used as a cure, as a Ruqyah, and how the Prophet ﷺ himself responded when he heard about it. So stay with me until the end, because not only will you hear this amazing story, but we'll also go through the lessons and how you can apply this in your own life today. Now, let's start by reminding ourselves what Surah Fatiha really is. Surah Al-Fatiha is called the opening because it opens the Quran and it opens every salah. You cannot pray without reciting it. That already shows how central it is in the life of a Muslim. It's also known as al-Kitab, the mother of the book, and Ashifa, the cure. Every verse in this surah carries deep meanings. Think about it. In just 7 verses, Allah teaches us how to praise Him, how to ask Him for guidance, how to stay away from misguidance, and how to build a relationship with Him. It's not just words we recite. It's a powerful dua, a healing, a direct connection with Allah. It guides us in worship, it guides us in patience, it guides us in hope, it guides us in life. And this story I'm about to share shows us exactly that. So here's what happened. Some of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ were traveling and they came across a tribe of Arabs. Now, in that time, it was a tradition that when travelers came, the locals will show them some hospitality, food, water, a place to rest. But this tribe, they refused. They didn't welcome their companions. They basically said, "You're on your own." Now imagine the scene. The companions were left hungry, tired, and not cared for. But then something happened in that tribe. The chief of the tribe was bitten by either a snake or a scorpion. He was suffering, and the people didn't know what to do. So desperate for help, they went back to the very companions they had refused earlier. They asked, "Do you have any medicine? Anyone among you who can do Ruqyah?" And the companions, being wise, said, "You didn't entertain us, so we won't help your chief, unless you give us something in return." The tribe agreed, promising them a flock of sheep if their chief was cured. So one of the companions stepped forward. Do you know what he did? He began reciting Surah Al-Fatiha over the wound. He gathered some of his saliva, spat lightly on the bite, and by the permission of Allah, the chief was cured, completely healed. The pain was gone, the poison was gone, the fear was gone. The tribe was amazed, and true to their word, they gave the companions a flock of sheep. But here's the interesting part. The companions didn't rush to eat from it. They said, "Let's wait until we ask the Prophet ﷺ whether it's lawful to take this reward." When they reached the Prophet ﷺ, they told him the story. He smiled. Now the Prophet ﷺ smiled at them, and then he said, "How did you know that Surah Al-Fatiha is a Ruqyah?" And then he told them, "Take the flock of sheep and assign me a share." This response from the Prophet ﷺ is so powerful. First, it shows us that Surah Fatiha is indeed a form of Ruqyah, a healing. It's not just a theory, it was confirmed by the Prophet himself. Second, it shows us the balance of Islam. The companions wanted to make sure that accepting a reward was permissible. And the Prophet ﷺ made it clear that it was lawful. And that, notice how he didn't just say, "Yes, take it." He said, "Assign me a share." This was his way of teaching them that not only is it halal, but he himself will partake in it, making them feel completely at ease. Now let's pause here and think, what can we learn from this story? The Quran is a cure. The Quran is a dua. The Quran is a healing. The Quran is a guidance. The Quran is a mercy. Now lesson 1, the Quran is a cure. Surah Fatiha is not just a chapter to be recited mechanically in Salah. It has real healing power spiritually, emotionally, and even physically by the will of Allah. Lesson 2, Surah Al-Fatiha is a dua. When we say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help. That's not just words, that's a direct request for Allah's help. And in this story, Allah responded to that help. Lesson 3. The importance of Ruqyah. The Prophet ﷺ approved Ruqyah as long as it doesn't involve shirk. Using Qur'an as Ruqyah is one of the purest forms of seeking healing. Lesson 4. Wisdom in dealing with people. Notice how the companions didn't rush to help the tribe that rejected them at first. They used wisdom and made an agreement. This teaches us about standing firm and knowing your worth. Lesson 5. Rewards for good actions are permissible. Sometimes people feel guilty about accepting payment for religious or helpful acts. But this story shows us it can be halal as long as it is done correctly. And here's something personal for you to reflect on. How often do we turn to medicine first, to people first, to material solutions first, and only turn to Allah when everything else fails? We turn to people, but people are limited. We turn to medicine, but medicine is limited. We turn to wealth, but wealth is limited. Yet, when we turn to Allah, Allah is never limited. This story is a reminder. Start with Allah. Use His words. Make dua. Put your trust in Him, and then also use the means available. So how can we apply this today? If you're feeling sick, anxious, or spiritually low, recite Surah Fatiha. Blow it over yourself, or your children, or your loved ones. If you're starting something new, recite Surah Fatiha for blessings. And most importantly, when you recite it in salah, don't let it be automatic. Reflect on its meanings. Feel it in your heart. Recite it with presence. Recite it with reflection. Recite it with love. So my dear brothers and sisters, the next time you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, remember this story. Remember the power that Allah has placed in these words. Don't let it just be something you rush through. Let it be your medicine, your comfort, and your connection to Allah. May Allah make the Quran the spring of our hearts, the light of our chest, and the healing for our bodies and souls. Ameen. If you found this video beneficial, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more people can benefit. And in the comments below, let me know how you ever experienced healing or comfort through Surah Fatiha. And I'd love to hear from your stories. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.